Hey, molweni manene namanenekazi, welcome to Makwande. Sizonichazisela kabanzi ke apha izinto terms eningazi understandi kahle ne. So today sizobe sithetha nge-retirement annuity, which is inyanga yomhlalaphantsi, and we've got with us ubabubheki Ndlovu, who's gonna help us ukuthi siqaphele ndaba nochuma Malange. Yeah, and a question yokuqala ke sizayibuza ke, that is the most common. Into ne-retirement annuity that begins acela undichazisele yona, just the word inyanga yomhlalaphantsi.
Okay, ngiyathanda ukubulisa, sibulise nabalaleli online, sibulise lokuthuma, sibulise losisinokuzola. Kahle i-retirement singakubeka sithi is beginning with the end in mind, where lapho ke ubheke your end right now, so you've got your end right now before ufika umhlalaphansi. So kusho khona ukunikeza ithuba lokuthi you envision your end right now. Ngakuthatha nje i-short ngibeke kanjalo ngidlulisela kuThuma.
And also just to add, because I think he has covered all the aspects of what an RA is, but in essence also it's a tool that people can use later on in their lives, because what you shouldn't forget is that after retirement all your expenses continue. You still need to buy food at home, you still need to pay for your life covers, you still need to pay for your car also. So it's a tool that you can use at the end of your work period, where you're still able then to continue affording a kind of lifestyle that you did while you were employed. So it's the end at the beginning, or the beginning at the end.
The beginning at the end.
Yeah.
The beginning
with the end.
With the end in mind. And as nxa ngiyichazisa ke mina ngizawuthi ukuqala ekugqibeleni, right? Ukuqala ngokucinga ekugqibeleni. It's such an important translation for me, because like right now because it's like we never think of an end.
Yes.
We never think we're gonna come across in the way I have a car but I can't
maintain it.
Yes,
you have life cover that shouldn't lapse. So once you stop working, you still need to continue all of those things so that your legacy for your children, for your family still continues.
Wow.
You know.
Yes.
So yeah.
Because mhlawumbe ngakubeka in this way. When all of us came to be, none of us knew ukuthi sizoba here on earth, emhlabeni. Wena uzibone uzelwe into a particular family. But with the retirement akunjalo.
Okay.
You are here now, so there is a future ahead. Kukhona isiphetho. Now as umuntu osekaqala ukusebenza, already envision the end before you get there. It allows you the opportunity which to see the end and start reverse backwards. Ubone ukuthi kahle inhlelo zami ngihleleni zimi kanjani uyibona. So as an individual or responsible, it's allowing you now to envision the end kokuqaleni.
Okay, ke bheke mina ndiyayiva ke le nto etshayo uba ndicinga mna ndisemtsha. And that's the reason why we started in Makwande, because ndisemtsha. How, when should I start? Ndiqale nini ukucinga ngale nto yese end, because leya end ikude kum. Andiboni noba ndizawufika na.
I know. Maybe just before Ubheki answers that question, it's a real issue also, because I'm also a youth in this country, and I find that most of my age mates are not really willing to commit like that to something that they don't see. I don't know how to put it, but you don't see the fruits of that kind of labor right now, you know. So it's something that you put in and you have to like forget about while you still continue with the contribution. Yeah. So I think what Ubheki said, we take Kalini at the end. Ne?
Yeah.
So as like someone who's new, like in the workspace, like a new professional, I think right now is the perfect time to start, you know, because we all have this thing of procrastinating our responsibilities, you know. And if you procrastinate this kind of responsibility, you find that later on in life, when you're thinking of putting your money for retirement, you'll find that now you have to contribute large amounts of money for the same amount that you would have gotten if you had started contributing like as a young professional in the industry.
Okay, ndiyakuva kodwa kha ndixelele ke yintoni umehluko ngaphambi kweyona inyanga yomhlalaphantsi retirement annuity nokuba ndi-investe?
No, invest. Okay, so usually for investments, we use them because we want to have access to the money, right? So the biggest difference between these two things is liquidity, you know. So
yimaqala yabona nxa usuqala uthi liquidity yintoni kanye yimaqala qhuma susixaka apha sizothetha lemens into ezicacile eziclient simple.
Okay, sorry. By liquidity, I mean access. I mean access to your money.
Okay.
You know, because you'll find that in an RA, typically, before the new pot system, we'll probably go into it later.
Okay.
Was introduced. You'll find that the minimum age for access was 55, unless you had less than 15,000 in your portfolio, then you were able to access it. But in general, the minimum age for access is 55.
Retirement annuity. I need
55.
to get to 55.
But again, when I started liquidity and comparing it to investments, you'll find that investment like a unit trust, you can call your financial advisor today about, okay, I need to use the money, I need to cash out on my investment, and then you'll get the money probably in 3 days, 5 working days. So that's the quick way to be able to access the money.
So ke ngoku kubaluleke kangakanani ke putback uba mandiyiqale le nto le kuse-early?
I think kubaluleke kakhulu guys, because if we look, even Uchuma just mentioned about issues of procrastinating, which are a huge setback to most investors, especially the young ones, and not even just the young ones, even the older ones. I think I'll touch on 2 points. The first one is it's within our nature as human beings. When you start working, there are certain, or is this the way how we are wired? We are wired in such a way which we want to satisfy our needs as a mind, not our future needs. So now, because you are wired, you are not thinking of the end. You are thinking of satisfying the now. Some people, they call us a consumer market, where we like consuming, and we want to deal with it. So we procrastinate. Now, my second point is, if singafunda a lesson from E220, they work to save for the winter.
Next winter, not even this one.
E220 right now as we speak, they've already saved for this winter.
For 3 months.
And they are, soon after winter, they are waiting for the next winter.
Wow.
So now parallel winter, they're already starting for the next winter. You see, we should have that framework which I should be building for yomhlalaphantsi. Right now, the earlier, the better. You see, that's why in Bible which I've seen something on earth, but nothing is as wise as E220, because they don't waste time. There is no time wasting. They are very diligent. But you know, when it comes to retirement planning, we are found wanting. So the earlier, the better.
Nizivele ke bantu uba qalisa ngoku awucingi just here ucinga pha ekugqibeleni uba ufuna ufikela kuphi na.
Because winter is coming.
Because winter is coming. Winter is coming, and uzoba nezidingo that you would want to be able to satisfy yourself. But now this is a tool ekwazi ukunceda ukuthi ifuture yakho ibe bhetele. Alright, ke disadvantages ne advantages.
So
ze-retirement annuity ngoba mama emaxesha ndiyathanda uzixelelana nina nithi hayi i-right kodwa ufumna anitsho xa i-wrong anitsho uba ha-a kodwa uqhapele phaa ungayi ngoba kunelitye uza kugila.
But
so khanitsho ke
I'd say, touching back on what I said also before, I think the only problem with retirement annuities is liquidity. But because now there's a new system that has been put in place, which will begin from the 1st of September, if I'm not correct. That system is called the two-pot system, which allows for better liquidity, for better access.
I look good. We back here, come here.
So it allows for better access to your money. So I wouldn't say right now that there are as many disadvantages, because you are actually saving for something that's going to benefit you. You know, so the only thing you're doing now is just depriving yourself of that 500 or maybe of that 1,000 rand that you're contributing, but it will play a role later on in life. So with disadvantages, no, I wouldn't say there is a disadvantage more than the fact that it's excess, and that has been addressed already.
Okay. So for me as well, I will say let's look at the advantages of retirement annuity. Now, in trying to incentivize the public to actually invest, the government, through its legislation, has put in place incentives through tax on how to get the public to actually invest into yomhlalaphantsi. The reason being, the government wants to offload upon its shoulders the burden of carrying every citizen on their shoulder. You see, so what does the government do? First of all, it says, if you invest into a retirement annuity, you will benefit on tax. One, tax deductions. It simply means that part of the contributions that you are actually making towards your pension or your retirement will reimburse you part of those contributions that you make. So it's the first incentive there. By so doing, it reduces your tax bracket. Akekho umuntu ofuna ukhokha tax. Siyakhokha ngoba asina choice. But now the government is coming back and saying, I'm gonna give you back to what you contributed. You see, that is benefit number one. Benefit number two is that if you are a so-called business person, which simply means that if you happen to have ikoloto, your debtors won't have access to that money that you've invested into your retirement. So there is some form of protection for anybody who invests into a retirement annuity. But also my business has buy funi ikoloto lapho uthi banyusa business bayithole sebese engxakini, and then the next thing the law or the master of the high court through the sheriff now wants to attach certain properties, but they cannot attach funds which are in a retirement annuity. You see, so that's another advantage. And then also, where investments are concerned, each investment, there is a portion of tax that you pay. Capital gains tax, which is a tax that is levied to any profit that you make. You will pay a capital gains tax. Now, the benefit about a retirement annuity, there is no tax whatsoever when you invest, even if you make capital gains tax. So all the gains that you make, these are now always. So there are those advantages where retirement annuity is concerned. And then the last one, retirement which suka kwenzeke ukuthi uthola ukuthi unengane ezaziwayo emshadweni. Then bese siba nengane ezingaziwayo emshadweni. Ula lokho abakubiza bethu ngo section 37C.
Okay.
Uthi yena, upon you accumulating whatever you've accumulated, now come distribution. So when it's now being distributed, kuyavela lezi ingane ezisemshadweni kumele zithole inani of lokho okusetshenzwa ngumama or ubaba. It hits both sides. Normally bajala ukubheka ukuthi abobaba, but it hits on both sides. Wenzeka phela omama nabo baneyimfihlo uthola ukuthi ayazange wayichaza ukuthi nginenye ingane eyami lapha kuphi but ayike akasekho umama sekaswela kehle. Ke manje ngokomthetho bayabheka ukuthi i-ID ekasisinokuzo ineyingane ezintathu. Zonke lezi ngane kumele zibenefit. So kusemthethweni under the Pensions Act ukuthi we make sure ukuthi zonke ingane zithola i-portion. So which means when maintaining of kids is concerned, or when maintaining of any financial dependence is concerned, every dependent of the late will have to benefit. Angazi ukuthi ngichaze kahle le. Yeah. Okay.
Wow. Okay. All right. Nizivele kuninzi, guys. I don't know which one of you is like, I'm still too young for this. Because kusho ukuthi kumele siphinde futhi le ndaba le awuvana next one. But the last question that I want to ask Babege is, can a retirement annuity be a wealth creator option?
I personally feel like it is not a wealth creator. It's something that is there to help you maintain the kind of life that you are living right now. You know, and as I mentioned also, you have a car that will still continue needing maintenance. You have life covers that still continue need to be serviced. Also, you have groceries at home because you need to eat. You know, so it's there to make sure that you don't have to go back into the job market.
Yeah,
you understand? So it is not something you can use to enrich yourself, but it is something that you can use to make sure that you are comfortable at the end of your working period.
Awesome.
Okay. On my part, I'll maybe differ kancane with Uthuma in this regard. He's 100% correct. Because the most challenging part is that most of the people come retirement, they have not accumulated enough. They have not saved enough. So with that regard, obviously, what you have in the pot is not sufficient enough to actually probably propel you to wealthiness and enrichment, you see. Now, that's where it doesn't maybe fit the narrative of being a wealth creator. But while we're still on that note, come retirement, one can maybe get a lump sum of $1 million, and then maybe get also on top of that a monthly income, probably, which is not much. But out of that $1 million, and then one sits and say, I want to start a business. I think at that stage in life, it's a risk. It's either you take a risk or take no risk.
Yeah.
For some people, if you have planned very well, that can turn out to be the best move.
Yes.
But for some people, it can turn out to be the worst ever move. Unfortunately, most people, when they take those risks, they are not, one, calculated risks. Secondly, they have not done due diligence in terms of researching to say, this business that I want to venture into, have I researched enough? You see, and then they throw in their million and they lose their million. Yet, on the other hand, somebody who has planned carefully, who has set their ducks in a row, and then they take that million, and that million catapults them to become the next millionaire. Their business thrives. So now it can become a stepping stone to wealth creation if you plan very well. And most importantly, do not just plan when you are already taking yomhlalaphantsi. Before we start yomhlalaphantsi, start planning prior. Start establishing yourself. Start researching how you're going to retire. Start having that envision of the mind. Remember I said at the beginning, it's the beginning with the end in mind. You see now. So once you start to have that mindset and framework, even if you're going to venture into a business, you're not going to stumble or parachute yourself into the business. You're going to prepare yourself. So when that million comes, it's just an injection to something that you already having kick-started, you see. So then, in that sense, it can be a wealth creation, but in most cases, it's a wealth preservation, you see. It's a wealth
preservation, but good cleaner for long term.
So just to ask you, well, maybe am I wrong to say that you can use your retirement funds to plan for your future financial goals at the same time?
Absolutely, yes. You can absolutely do that, because in most cases, let's look at the lifespan of a person. Average lifespan of a person across the board is 90 years. Now, let's look at what legislation says where retirement is concerned. Legislation says you can retire as early as 55. Government says their employees 60. Now imagine you retiring from age 60. What are you going to do for the next 30 years?
And you're not even certain how long you're going to live.
Exactly. You see, so now if you already have that in mind, you need to make sure that don't even look at retirement per se, but look at it as the last years of your life, where instead of really preserving, let me shift my focus and be on creation. You see now. Why am I saying so? If you look at people like Colonel Saunders, they call him Colonel Saunders, I think. He is the owner or the person who started KFC.
Yeah, Colonel Saunders.
Yes. When he started it, I think it was age 62 or age 60 something.
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Now, I need you to realize that he had retired at the army. He was a retiree at the army. And he retired earlier because of injuries in the army. But one thing that he noted, because at the time of him at yomhlalaphantsi, he hadn't saved enough. And he was not getting much from the government. So this is what he decided. In his own backyard, he said, while I was in the army, I was also a chef. Then was pay. But it didn't start there. Actually, he started in his own garage he started a garage sale, selling his own property because he did not save enough. You see, now he's busy selling his old property just to get and make life, to make means. And then not much of people were really buying
into that,
into what he was selling. Come on, he's selling his old stuff from his house. So obviously, I will buy with little money, or say I can offer you this. And then he said, while people are coming to buy, let me be selling them my recipe of a chicken that I love so much. Only to realize that the chicken is now selling more than the goods that he's selling.
People love food.
Wow. Then he's realizing how this chicken is actually attracting people here. And then he went and found another restaurant business owner. He said, let me partner with you. I will come with my recipe of a chicken, and when I've already got a business, and then together we can make money. That's how we started.
Wow.
Then eventually to branch out and stand alone. That's when he called it Kentucky. It's actually called Kentucky because he was from Kentucky. So it's now called Kentucky Fried Chicken. So here in South Africa, we are actually Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Imagine where that from, all the way overseas.
So you see, instead of now, he eventually started to create wealth after he retired. But the problem is the word there on its own, yomhlalaphantsi. Awukho umhlalaphantsi kahle mawumuntu. Awukho umhlalaphantsi.
I think that is the biggest motivator to start with your retirement, because the realization that awukho umhlalaphantsi should be enough to at least drive you to know that there's a life after your life also. So,
exactly. So truly speaking, awukho umhlalaphantsi, but in the corporate space or in the working class, yes, ukhona umhlalaphantsi, in the sense that intsha yamanje ifuna ukusebenza isithi hey makhehla cela isidedele nathi singena hayi ukuthi
free up some space,
but free up some space.
And that's the problem with not planning for your retirement also. You end up not filling space because you want to hang on to a salary you are getting, because you know that after you leave the gates permanently,
where is it going to come from?
No one is going to give you that money again. So,
wow.
No, I fully agree with you.
Wow, I guess singahlali langa lonke apha plus utabheki nochuma yuwe babona balapha. There's mana, guys, and as for me, this is so much mana that I would wish for abantu abaninzi to get. And to get to eat, because this is when we are called, you say retirement, you need to uyibonile somewhere, and then you want it. Really, there's no time. They just want to sail, But here we are, Kumakwande, and we are doing that just for you. And I pray that ufumene imana apa, guys. For me, this is so fruitful, and I just want to say thank you, Buddha Tupegi, for this opportunity, and thank you to for really just taking their time, because literally they're taking their time to come here and just to educate us some more about retirement annuity. And I'm praying that in the future there'll be more of these topics that as long as Tetas understand, so that Sunday say, right? Because we want to grow, right? Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next time. And if I know some of you do have questions still, you can post them in the comments below. And I know if you want to be contacted, please just sign our Poppy Act disclaimer first, and then fill in the forms for us to be able to call you if you want to know more. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Wow, guys.